Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Today is the 3rd of June, year of our Lord 2024. 24. Oh, nope, stay with it, Nick. Year of our Lord 2024. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hinkle, a.k.a. Moton Noah. Got a important show for you guys today. We might kind of be quick in and out of here. Got a lot of stuff going on, moving at a million miles an hour. There's a chance I might just kind of have to get in and get out. So if it's a shorter episode, I apologize. Usually I've actually clocked this recently. The Monday episodes are the ones where I have the hardest time. Usually when I have some sort of a mental break, like halfway through an episode, I've learned it is usually on the Monday ones, because Friday comes to me very organically. I have the entire week to sort of digest what's going on in the world. Monday, it's just a turnaround time thing. You know, not enough happens, especially when we're waiting for an entire series to start. Sure, we got some content, talking about the finals matchup as it exists, because we didn't do that on Friday, but, for all intents and purposes. Recording this also on the eve, publishing this on the eve of Destiny's conclusive expansion, releasing the final shape. Folks, this is a big deal for me. I've been playing Destiny for 8 or 9 years at this point, and I'm excited. I'm excited to jump into the final shape. Unfortunately, I will technically have to be working through it, and then also fathering a child. So, gone are the days of just like, I get to just play video games all day. Can't do that anymore, right? And then even when the college football game comes out next month, how crazy is it? Like, you just think about, like, the cultural differences. We've been highlighting a lot of international listeners on the show recently, and I've found that I think that's really fun. I've gotten a kick out of it. I hope you guys have too. Even some of our other international listeners, just getting the spotlight on you guys. But here's something, because what a lot of people some people may not live in America, but they like the NFL. But college football still eludes a lot of people. It's a weird thing for people to get into if you're not in America. So, you know what I mean? Like, they have no idea how long we've been waiting for this game. Some of them might, some of you watching this might be like, well, what the hell? No, I know about college football. Sure. But, like, how many of us are going to flock, not by the thousands, by the millions, to play this game? The amount of PTO that is going to be used the weekend that the college football game comes out, unimaginable. Folks, when I say it's an important show today, I say that for one reason, because it's the finals, man. The finals are here. And it's a good one. We got a lot to be excited about. I got no issues with any of the players that are here, either of the markets. We've started to stray on this show from talking about markets at all. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. It's been a subconscious tweak, I think. We talk about the characters of this show and the ones who email in. One of the first established characters on this show was a guy named Tom. And every time he's on vacation, he emails into the show, and he's always in the bathroom. I shit you guys not. He emailed in probably maybe a week ago at this point, give or take. And he was like, "Hey, Nick, I'm on a cruise in Norway, and I'm in the bathroom right now sending you this email." The email, I'm not going to read it, Tom, unfortunately, but it just so happens that it was about markets, and it's asking me something about, do you believe in the whole small market, big market thing? I don't know, man. I guess that conversation is just boring to me. It's also because, what I've learned, it's such a trap bullshit thing to try to argue with anybody about. I'm going to ask you, is Phoenix a big market? They're not a small market, but are they a big market? You're going to say, like, not really. And then people who live in Arizona are going to be like, oh, actually, it's the 4th largest city in America, asshole. It's like, yeah, but, hockey didn't work there. Baseball, I guess, it works. I guess baseball works. Football, I guess it works. And then basketball, I guess, works when you have a billionaire, a new billionaire, a motivated billionaire, not a racist billionaire, purchase the team and receives this huge cash infusion. And yeah, you kind of put your dick on the table and you bring in like Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. Like, I guess that's cool, but what's going to happen after? You know what I mean? Like, people aren't going to flock to fucking Phoenix no matter what happens. It's just not going to be a thing. So that's why I just struggle to say, like, it's not Charlotte, you know what I mean? But it's not Los Angeles. It's not New York. It's just not. I'd wager to say it's not even Chicago. I mean, so Small market, big market, is that a thing? I don't know. But I got to tell you, folks, if we're looking at it through that lens as it pertains to the NBA Finals, we're not, though. We're just not. Boston versus Dallas. Should I lead with my prediction? Is that bad? Is that bad hosting if I lead with my prediction? This might be one of those situations where if I give you my prediction now, I might talk myself out of it by the end. So maybe it would be a good mental exercise to do it now. I want Boston. Whoa, Freudian slip. I want Dallas, but I think it's gonna be Boston. And I'm getting tricked. I'm getting tricked by someone. I don't know who it is. I don't know which one of you little fuckers out there is tricking me, whispering sweet nothing. So is Boston winning in 4 or is Boston winning in 7? I can't figure this one out. I can't figure it out. Because there's a weird amount of people out there who are like, Boston's going to kick the shit out of this team. Dallas doesn't stand a chance. I don't know. And the other group of people completely overcorrected. There's no middle. Completely overcorrected. No. Like, it's going to go 7. 100% it's going 7. There's no middle ground. There's no fucking middle ground. The series is either going 4 or it's going 7. Any pundit that I listen to, any YouTuber that I listen to, any podcaster that I listen to, right? All these posts on Reddit that I'm seeing. It's 4 or 7, and it's going in one of those directions. Oh, okay. Here's what it comes down to. It looks like Kristaps Porzingis is going to be okay. Looks like he's going to be playing, suiting up game 1. We'll see what he looks like. If he's rusty they really just need him to be good for 2.5 games. I think if we get a good Kristaps Porzingis, can you get away with 2? Do you think you can get away with 2 games? As long as if Dallas is fully recovered, 2 games would be pushing it. At a bare minimum, you need it from 2 games. From Kristaps Porzingis for 2 games, right? I got a few things that I wanted to talk about with this series. Now, the first thing is usually it's better to wait for the series to be over for me to do this mental exercise, but I was just trying to prepare myself. And kind of, get the juices really flowing for the series here. What I like to do is I like to go down the rosters of every single team. And again, usually I do this after they've won. And let's say it's Dallas. I'll go Luka Doncic, NBA champion, just to see how it feels. Like imagining that it's real and like, what does that feel like? Just so you kind of get what I'm saying here if I haven't grasped you yet. The craziest 2 that I ever was like, whoa, that was crazy to say out loud, actually happened in the same year. Kyle Lowry, NBA champion. I didn't know what it was about it. It wasn't because, dude, I had completely flipped on Kyle Lowry by that point. I was like, no, you're a dude. You are a dude. He was great for the last, 4 years of his Raptors stint. He was a dog. It was just, I couldn't believe that it actually happened for him, that he was one of those guys that you feel like would just kind of get lost to history. Even looking back on it now, do people remember that Kyle Lowry? I don't know. I just feel like they've already forgotten how good Kyle Lowry was at the absolute peak of his powers, right? And then the other one who was on that same team that year, Jeremy Lin, NBA champion. Don't really need to explain that one. It's Jeremy fucking Lin, right? NBA champion. That guy actually did it. NBA champion. And I actually did, I did this morning, and I was even whispering all the names to myself. There's not that many crazy ones on either team, so I'm not even going to, burn 5 minutes doing it on the show. It'll be more fun maybe after the fact again when it's actually real and we can say it definitively. Maybe the more interesting storyline here, this is another one of those things that I lean towards, like, I don't care about this. I don't care about this at all. When people talk about how old certain players are when they win their first ring, you think about LeBron and Michael were both 27 when they each got their first. Steph was 26. Larry was 24. Kareem was 23, and this doesn't matter. This doesn't count for anything. I'm just saying this because it's interesting. Kareem got his first at 23, didn't win his second until he was 32. I had no idea until I looked that up this morning. Kobe was 21, and Magic was 20. Magic Johnson, 20 years old when he won his first. It was his rookie season, right? Wasn't that the finals where he played all 5 positions? And that's the thing that people like to talk about. And it was the year before that, in 1979, that he won a natty for Michigan State. Nice. And then another thing, I don't want to forget to mention this. There's some bingo sheet, Motown Noah Coping Hour bingo sheet implications as it pertains to this series? Possibly. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll have to talk myself through this one too, because now I'm saying it out loud. I actually don't know that there is. So if you are new to the show and you don't know what I'm talking about, if you go to like an early episode in like January, beginning of January, it should be like in the title, so it shouldn't be that hard to find. We did the Motown Noah 2024 bingo sheet. We just listed a bunch of random shit. We tried to like Nixtradamus 2024, pick a bunch of random, social events, sports events, pop culture events, stuff like that we thought was going to happen. And so far, it's not going too well, but there's a square on there that says, Joe Mazzulla stops being a freak. Now, we have mentioned that parenthetically should include Challenge Impossible, because what are the odds of that happening? And you're probably wondering, Nick, why? What's the implication? Well, now that I'm saying it out loud, I don't think there are any. What's going to happen? What's the worst outcome is what we need to ask ourselves here. Okay, the Celtics lose the NBA Finals. Does that make Joe Mazzulla stop being a freak? I think it probably makes him go on like a 5 to 7 day darkness retreat, take a bunch of ayahuasca, smoke a bunch of opium, sit in a pitch black room with the town on in the background on loop, but not the video, just the audio of the town. And he just sits there and he like figures out, some voodoo shit, and the Celtics run it back. Nope, that's going to make him even crazier. It's going to make him even fucking crazier. Well, what if the Celtics win? Does Joe Mazzulla stop being a freak? I would argue that it just enables him and his freak shittery in perpetuity. I just think that it's just also a worse outcome. So, unfortunately, Joe Mazzulla is going to be a freak regardless. And maybe this is another thing that's worth doing. We have gotten a few emails, and a couple of them have been like, hey, man, you fucking hate the Celtics. Like, what's your deal? There are very few teams in the league that I actually hate. And it's like Miami. And then what else? Oh, my God, I have to do a quick aside on this. Oh, I need to remember to get back to the emails, but I will not otherwise remember to come back to this. Okay, so there's this report out there that if Miami doesn't pay Jimmy Butler whatever contract he's trying to get from them, he's like, I already have Philadelphia lined up. We've already talked. Which, by the way, why the fuck are we not already like, hey, tampering? By the way, that's fucking tampering. Wasn't it Lowry that got fucked over about this like just a couple years ago? What the fuck? Why are we not already? Wasn't it also the Lonzo shit going to Chicago? What's going on here? Why is this not tampering? If we already know that Philadelphia is on deck, right? Oh, okay. It's not. Oh, okay. Because it's Jimmy Butler. Oh, okay. All right, fine. Okay. So what you're telling me is that, once again, there is a non-zero chance that we get into the offseason and Jimmy Butler bullshits his way to a new team for his own benefit, really for only the benefit of himself, just because he was like pissed about how like one season went. And it was, okay. So then everybody's going to be, oh, man, Jimmy Butler, he's just built different. Like, he just doesn't want to play with a bunch of pussies. Like, that's just, man, Jimmy Butler, man. He's just, okay, all right, fine. I'm just, if we got to tee this up, like Jimmy Butler's about to decimate another franchise. And everyone's going to have to eat it, and everybody's going to act like he's the fucking second coming of Christ. Everybody's going to do it. It's going to piss me off. But it's going to make me happy to see him kill another franchise. And it feels especially better if that has to be the Miami Heat. So I say all of that to say, no, I don't hate Boston at all. But I do want to read some emails here. copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email will be available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this show. Email comes into us from Kevin. Kevin, welcome to the show. Subject line, Boston versus Dallas storyline. I have an additional storyline that helps add extra fuel to the fire between Dallas and Boston. Everyone's going to talk about Kyrie and Boston, but we need to discuss KP and Dallas. As a Dallas fan, our biggest wet dream was to trade for KP because he seemed like he could be Dirk 2.0, but that soon turned out to be a wet nightmare. He thought that he was going to be the number one option until Luka came along. He would always love it when Luka would miss a game, and then he would always make petty comments to the media about how he loved the ball movement and that the team... Okay, have I already said this in an episode? Maybe I just can't read right now. I'm not gonna get mad at this guy. I just get mad when emails are written in certain ways, and then I come off as illiterate. I just get upset about that. Let's get back to the email. All this drama and angst built until the final playoff run versus the Clips, where he was basically relegated into standing in the corner and pouting because he and Luka couldn't play together properly. And then, after losing to the Clips for a second time in the playoffs, he was traded the next season. And then parenthetically at the bottom here, fun random tidbit from that second Clip series. There were still COVID protocols going on, and he was almost suspended for a game because he went into a strip club by himself. What kind of weirdo does that? Close parentheses. Kevin, thank you very much for the email. I don't know what kind of weirdo does go into a place like that. So my girlfriend and I, we have this like long-standing joke about Hooters and how I'm obsessed with Hooters. I'm obsessed with the concept. We'll get to the email. Hold on. This is related to what you just said. I'm answering your question, to be honest with you. So we have like this long-standing thing between us about Hooters. I think it is the funniest thing in the world. I'm obsessed with Hooters as a concept, as an idea. I don't think there's anything funnier than what it is. Okay. That being said, I am one of those dudes that oh my God, I would throw up if I had to go into one of them, because I did go into one of them when I was like 10. I was like 10, and it was my dad in the morning. He was like, hey, do you want to go to work with me today? I'm fucking 10 years old. My dad asking me if I want to go to work with him for the day. I'm like, I literally want to do nothing more than that. That's all I want to do in the world right now is go to work with you. Are you fucking kidding me? That sounds awesome. So I go to work with him, right? And then, it's like lunchtime. He's like, all right, you want to go to lunch? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, cool. He's like, I'm going to take you somewhere. I was like, all right, I'm 10 or whatever I was. Young. I was a kid. We go to Hooters, and I'm mortified. I'm 10 years old. I don't know. It's just not the relationship I had with my dad. I was like, I don't want to be here. And then I remember I panicked because one of the waitresses was like, my dad was like, yeah, it's his first time. I've never been here before. I was like, oh my God, shut the fuck up. I'm 10. And she's like, we'll have to get you a t-shirt. My fucking heart sank because I spent the rest of our lunch at the restaurant being like, how the fuck are we going to hide a t-shirt from mom? How are we going to hide that? She's going to know that we were here. And you said not to tell her that we came here. How am I supposed to hide a t-shirt, Dad? She does my laundry. I'm 10. Dog, I thought when we were getting out of the restaurant, we paid the check. I'm like ducking like Isaiah leaving the fucking Celtics on the court. Like, dog, I'm around corners. I'm thinking I'm like James Bond and out of there. No, we just didn't have to buy a shirt. She was just trying to upsell us. I didn't realize what that was as a concept. So, Kevin, I hope that answers your question as who would go into a strip club by themselves. Maybe, I don't know. Kristaps Porzingis, we have said on the show, is going to be a crucial part of this series. And I would actually agree with you that it is certainly a lesser talked about piece of what's going on here. Because if you want to talk about it through the Kyrie lens, it's so interesting because if there's anything that we can all agree on, it's somewhere in like your top 3 things that you want to watch most in this series, the Kyrie game. We all want the Kyrie game more than anything, and I think we would all also agree that it has to be in Boston. It has to be in TD Garden. If it's in Dallas, it doesn't count. Re-roll the dice. That shit does not count. That's just a normal Kyrie game. You have to do it in Boston, right? We all want it to happen. And I think we say the Kyrie game. It could easily be, the last 2.5 minutes of the fourth quarter. It could just be like a moment, but like a sequence is maybe a better way to phrase it. But we're all rooting for that, right? Well, but like, what are the odds? You think pretty good. With how Kyrie has elevated his game in the postseason and just like playing on just a disgusting level, right? It seems like it's conceivable because it is conceivable. I'm just saying it seems like it's like a foregone conclusion is what I'm trying to say, right? Well, maybe, but what's the number that Kyrie's like 0-10 against Boston since he stomped out that bitch Leprechaun at half court? 0-10? 14 losses in his career. Oh, to the Boston? Oh my God. Wow. Dog, burn some sage. Do whatever you got to do. Like, we're all going to root for you now. You're not an asshole anymore. We are literally all on your side now. I don't know how you fucking did it, but we're literally all on your side now. Okay? Like, we're back. We're all back on Kyrie. We can't quit him. Back like we literally never left. But then you're like, well, Boston is Drew Holiday. Boston is Derek White. Kyrie got like 3 shots off in a row. Okay, here's Jaylen Brown. For whatever reason, that doesn't work. He goes to the bench. Oh, hey, Tatum, like, go get his ass. Okay. Well, he's just going to pass to Luka. That's fine. Any of the other guys that I just named are going to be on him. The fuck? Like, what are we talking about? I don't know, man. I don't know. This is going to be a bloodbath. I think it's going to be a bloodbath. And you know what? Another part of this too is, well, let me add to the Kristaps part of this too, because I didn't speak on that too much. You just fucking forget that he was there, right? Unless you're a Mavs fan, sure. Where did he get traded? He had to have been from the Knicks that he got traded to Dallas, right? Yeah. What the fuck? Whoa. This is coming to me in real time. He got traded the day that we went to see Dallas play at Little Caesars Arena. Luka sat out that game, and it was the game that him and I made eye contact. We were sitting really close to his bench. Him and I made eye contact. I wouldn't stop fucking staring at him. And he eventually, because he just kept looking at me. And he's Luka. I was just fucking staring at this dude for like 20 straight minutes, and he kept looking over. Eventually, he's sitting next to like a trainer or an assistant coach, and he like taps him on the shoulder, and they're like talking, and then they both look at me, and then they both fucking laugh and look away. Fuck! I made it weird. I made it weird, Luka. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. That was the day that Kristaps got traded to Dallas, right? You forget that happened. And I think we were all just kind of like, oh my gosh, they just gave Luka like an Eastern European pal. Surely they're going to get along. They probably speak the same language. Latvian, Slovenian. It's probably all the same shit. Right? No. No, that didn't work at all. Didn't he also beef with Carlisle? I don't remember much about that relationship other than like, that was like a destination. But again, man, to your point, there's nothing he did there. But there's maybe another thing that you credit these teams for. There's another thing you can say is no matter which team wins, you will be able to point to their front office and be like, you did a pretty textbook job of building around your star as quickly as you could. Right, and maximizing their window, because those contracts, they're on to the next one. Like right before you fucking know it, they're on to the next one, and then you like just haven't done that much, right? Not everybody's Dame, and we'll just, especially in 2024, and we'll just deal with your horse shit. But you give Nico Harrison credit, man. You give Danny Ainge credit, and then you give Brad Stevens a lot of credit for being able to hold the reins, right? That Drew Holiday, being able to sort of sneaky get in there and help facilitate that. I mean, that's not nothing, right? So, and if you're Dallas, we've talked about it a lot in the last couple of weeks, but what we like to say is you wondered for a few years, like, what is the perfect team around Luka? Like, what does that look like? And then you're like, oh, so you just need like 3 dudes who can jump through the roof of the gym, and then you need, I'm being reductive, and then you also need a guy who can offset Luka's minutes while also taking the pressure off him in most moments when they do share the floor together. Boom. That's Kyrie Irving, right? You bring in a coach like Jason Kidd, and I tell you what, dude, here's my thing with Jason Kidd. We've all said some mean things about him this season in his coaching career, in his playing career, the whole wife beater stuff. That's a reference to, well, I guess because he did do it. I wasn't just saying why did I say that? He did, though. He did do that. So anyways, about saying mean things about Jason Kidd, I guess here's where I'm settling on it is, if the players are going to keep going to bat for a guy, they're going to keep vouching for him, what am I supposed to say? I'm not in the huddle. I'm not in the practices. I'm not on the fucking plane. Like, hey, man, if the players like him, no matter what coach it is, and that's Jason Kidd. His players love him. I remember thinking the same thing about Dave Yeager. Dave Yeager in Memphis was like crying after a game. I don't remember what it was, but it was really touching. He's like, I fucking love these guys. I go to war for them. He's like, they try so hard, man. They try so hard. I was like, that's just a dude who actually loves his players and loves what he does, loves his job. And so X's and O's, that's, I don't know. Most people don't know. Most people, even who think they know, they don't fucking know, right? So once the players start being like, yeah, no, this dude rules, I'm going to say that dude probably rules. And we got another email here from Riley. Riley, welcome to the show. Subject line, ESPN hates the Celtics? Hey, Nick. I genuinely think ESPN hates the Boston Celtics. I know how this take comes off, so all I ask is that you bear with me if I sound a little bit entitled here, but there's been a lot of recent events that I feel support this claim. I know the Celtics have been benefiting from playing injured teams, but the media acts like these teams would have beaten Boston even if they were healthy. Bob Myers said the other night on the halftime show that Boston was currently, quote, at full strength, unquote, despite them missing Porzingis for both rounds 2 and 3, in which they only lost one game combined in both series. ESPN Today was trying to say that Jason Tatum was jealous of Jaylen Brown winning Eastern Conference MVP and zoomed in on him smiling and trying to push this bullshit agenda. Yeah, just to break the email for a second, that did happen. They're not lying. That's real. That did happen. It's on a Get Up, whatever the Greenie show is in the morning. And dog, they literally show a clip and they're like, here's all the Celtics like head tapping Jaylen Brown, just gassing up their dude on the stage when it's announced that he wins MVP. Everyone's going berserk for the dude, right? And then they pan over to Jason Tatum and they zoom in. Jason Tatum, by the way, also smiling and fucking celebrating. There's literally no notes. He's being a great dude, great teammate. I wouldn't notice anything out of the ordinary. What are we seeing here? Are we seeing a rift forming between the Jays and Boston? The fuck is going on here? What? Like, it's bizarre. I got nothing else to say other than that is real, and that is literally exactly how it happened. Back to the email here. I also wanted to address something that you said about how the Boston crowd sounded quiet on the broadcast for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and I wanted to point out that ESPN has been lowering the crowd in the background of these games. ESPN has been doing this in other games, too. You know what, man? Riley, thank you for the email. I'm going to cut you off there, because that... I don't know if you know this, but that damn ESPN, they're suppressing our crowd noise. They're turning down the volume in our games. You might be right, even if you're fucking right. This is crazy. It's a crazy thing to say to me. I don't care. It's funny though. Riley, thank you very, very much for the email. Not to keep picking on you because I was just goofing right there. But ESPN hates the Celtics. Newsflash, Riley. Probably been a Celtics fan your whole life. Everybody hates the motherfucking Celtics. They're the Celtics. It's Boston. There's not a Boston team in the world that anybody's going to be like, I don't mind them. Fuck them. That's what everybody thinks. Riley, you know this. You know this better than anybody. Better than anybody. Except from this guy. You'll get it from this guy. You'll get some support. It's weird because generally I would agree with the sentiment. I don't have a problem with the Red Sox, actually. And then my thing with the Bruins, their original six. I root for the original 6 teams. Sans the Blackhawks. Not the Blackhawks. But I'll root for the other original 6 teams. Like, no problem. Plus Winnipeg. And Edmonton. Love Connor McDavid. But just the original 6, right? And then who am I forgetting? The Patriots? I mean, I don't root for them anymore, but I did root for Tom Brady because I was like, I love dynasties. Like, I want him to win as many fucking Super Bowls as he can. I hated Mac Jones. Once Tom left, it's when I was like, okay, I don't care about the Patriots anymore. And the Celtics, it's like, yeah, I've not liked them in the past. I didn't like Paul Pierce. I liked Kevin Garnett, but I just didn't like that he went to Boston. Ray Allen, what was I supposed to do? Hate him. Aaron Baines, loved Aaron Baines. Big Baby Davis, shout out to him. He's a felon. He's a criminal, right? It's crazy. He can't vote. I don't know if he's actually a felon. Well, surely he is. Surely he is. What did he get? Was he part of that insurance fraud thing, or wasn't his thing weed or something? I don't know. He got arrested for something. So he can't. So Glenn Big Baby Davis can't vote, but Donald Trump can still be on the ballot. Because that's the thing that sucks about that. I think that rule is awesome. I think, if there's anything about America that might be like, oh, man, this is an awesome thing about America. The fact that you can be on the ballot, anybody can from prison. That's awesome. That rules. I don't care who it is. Like that rules. How did we get here? Oh yeah, everybody hates the Celtics except me, because I feel like I just started redoing the bit. I literally just hit reset and started saying the exact same shit verbatim. What I wanted to say is Boston is like actually fielded a wrong. How am I supposed to hate Jason Tatum? How am I supposed to hate Jaylen Brown except for the fact that he went to Cal Berkeley and I think he actually might be kind of dumb? Derek White, like, he's awesome. I hate Peyton Pritchard. There's one. I fucking hate Peyton Pritchard. Have never liked him. Oregon, hated him. I got a buddy who is obsessed with him, loved him at Oregon, and then since every year, he'll text me once a year, be like, how about that Peyton Pritchard? Still in the league? I'm like, yeah, he's still in the league, I guess. I fucking guess. Kristaps Porzingis, I did the thing earlier. You talk about player X, NBA champion, and just see how that feels. I have never a day in my life, not a fraction of a second in my life, have I found Tingus Pingus to be funny. It's never been funny to me. Like, the video, I guess, was originally funny because that was kind of the reaction. People were still scared of drafting European players. It's crazy how that was only, 9 years ago? Just how far in the opposite direction we've gone with that, where people are like, yes, give me the Europeans. 9 years ago, motherfuckers were like shitting and crying and sliding down the wall if you drafted a European player. Tingus Pingus being sort of the last bastion of that, right? He helped usher in this new age of highly touted European prospects and people actually being happy about them being in the league, because they were very far and few between before, and it felt like a lot of them ended up being like draft and stash and like just through other means, like weird. One of the European players that did not contribute to this at all, truly, I think one of the funniest players that I've seen in my lifetime was Milos Teodosic, because oh my God, when you catch these media outlets, these publications doing it in real time, their pants are around their ankles in real time and they don't even know it. When Milos Teodosic came over and signed with the Clippers, motherfucker, you would have thought that they had signed like a hybrid of Magic Johnson, Chris Paul, and Rajon Rondo. I'm serious. You should have been there. I wish you could have been there for it. Because the shit that they were posting about, like, he was doing, like, elbow passes and shit in, like, these EuroLeague games, wherever the fuck he was. And then, dog, he shows up in the NBA. He can't stop smoking cigarettes. He just can't. Like, he can't stay on the court. He can't do anything at all. Motherfuckers thought he was going to transform the league and be like Ricky Rubio on, like, what's the antithesis, the reverse of Ozempic. That's what he would have been. Steroids? Can just say steroids. The reverse Ozempic, aka you may know this as steroids, but we in the industry refer to it as reverse Ozempic. Milos Teodosic. I don't know what he's doing these days. Where was he from? He wouldn't be a conscripted soldier, right? He wouldn't be a conscripted soldier right now. How the fuck did we get here? Oh yeah, the Celtics. Everybody hates them. I don't really hate them that much though. It's just I like watching them. I hate Joe Mazzulla. I miss Danny Ainge, honestly, dude. He just did an interview on Pardon My Take, and I was like, wow, you're just a really funny dude. You're just a really good dude. Speaking of dudes who are kind of good dudes, but I hate them. This Tom Gores character, ladies and gentlemen, he's not kind of a good dude at all. He had put out a quote the other day. People were asking him about Troy. And I'm sorry, I'm stalling right now because I'm trying to pull it up. And I thought it was a very fair and honest reflection of Troy's time here. Quote from Tom Gores, the Pistons owner. I very much appreciate all the dedication Troy displayed to our Pistons franchise. As much as we have struggled lately, we will look back and see Troy as an important person in the remaking of the Pistons. He took the pain of rebuilding head on, and he did the hard work to get us the flexibility we have today. He also assembled a great core of young men with tremendous skill and character to give us a path to the future. Every single word of that is right. And I recorded a video after the news came out that Troy and the Pistons were going to part ways. I deleted it after a few hours. I didn't think it was a good 8 minutes. There was one thing in there I said that I wish I didn't say. It wasn't like bad or anything. It was just a very, very small thing. I just was like, I didn't need to say that. And so I just took it down. I just didn't think it was a good video. That's all that it was. But I'll regurgitate some of what I said there right here. He's exactly right, man. For better or for worse. If you strip this thing of all of its memes and shit, Pistons fans, the same Pistons fans who are like, oh, well, we could move this guy for this guy and this guy and this guy, we got all these nice pieces that we can move to give Cade a better situation, right? Well, who got you those pieces? Right? So at least there's a way out of this, because you're going to, the chess move here is you're going to be like, well, I just wish we would have drafted different players so that we would have been in a situation where we didn't have to completely, clean house, gut the roster, and flip it for better shit. Sure. But this is just kind of how it goes, man. This is just sort of the cycle. And it could be a hell of a lot worse, and it has been even worse for the Pistons in the past, right? Remember when the shit that we had was like Contavious Caldwell Pope and like Andre Drummond and like Reggie Jackson, and like that was just like that was the shit that we had. Like Kyle Singler. Like, do you guys remember that? Greg Monroe. Like, you know what I mean? So it could be worse. It could be worse. You give Troy credit for that. All right, cool. It's really hard to restore something that's historically great. He took a team that, you know, when he took over, had 0 positive assets. 0. None of them. We had nothing. We were about to eat a bunch of money, too. We were still eating money. The Josh Smith shit was still going on. And then right after that, we tried to, like, amnesty Blake, and that didn't work. Had to eat some money there, but he also gave us some money back. So, man, it's the same Pistons fans who are walking into this summer talking about some damn $60 million in cap space, if you believe that to be a positive asset. You know, there you go. There's something for you. Okay, who got you that? That was Papa Troy. That's who it was. So, man, he wasn't without faults. It was the right decision to let him go. But I think it's going to get lost in the fold, some of the good stuff that he did. And I do think that is for good reason. I do think that is fair, only fair. I don't have to lie and be like, well, folks, no, we need to give him credit. I think we can acknowledge certain good things that he did. But overall, you just had the worst season that you've ever had in the history of your franchise, dating back to the Fort Wayne days. No one survives that. And that's the other part of this. So you're like, okay, Trajan Langdon in the house. It's official. It's real. Sealed and signed. She's not my lover like Billie Jean, but the kid is mine. Trajan Langdon, president of basketball operations for the Detroit Pistons. Except it's only been announced on socials recently. Finally. Took them damn 2 weeks to do it. We talked a little bit about it. The communication in the Woj tweet indicated that they were working on it, not that it had been done. So now that the Pistons have sort of announced it in their own way, they're like, yes, this is a real thing. Where is the press conference? Where's that at? Where the hell's that at? Some people would hypothesize that it's because the Pistons are getting their ducks in a row behind the scenes. And they want to make sure when Trajan Langdon goes up there with Arn Tellem and that fucker Tom Gores, that they're prepared to deliver a statement. That they are prepared to convey a message, not just to the league, but specifically its fans and its potential season ticket holders, by the way. That the Pistons have relieved Monty Williams of his head coaching duties and instead will shift their focus to a list of qualified candidates. Who could that be? I don't know. Remains to be seen. Again, I think that's also part of this. It's like, you're not going to fire Monty if you don't think there's anything out there. If you don't think anyone is to be had right now, like what's Sean Sweeney doing in Dallas? Can we bring Sean Sweeney back? Bring his ass home? What's Jordan Brink doing? Maybe him. What's Charles Lee up to these days? Just throwing some stuff out there. So I hope so. But if you're Detroit, here's what I would do. I'm Trajan Langdon. I'm texting myself. Boop, boop, boop. Bring, bring, bring. I guess I am calling. Oh, shit. I'm calling myself. Hello? Hey, man, I think what we should do with this Monty thing is we should just ask Cade. Oh, that's a good idea. And then just whatever his answer is, that's just what we do. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because ultimately that's who fucking matters here more than anybody. Right? Oh, okay, yeah, cool. I'll give him a call. Thanks, man. Blink. That's how I'd fucking do it if I was Trajan Langdon. Ask Cade. This is the only opinion that matters. If he wants Monty Williams to stick around. Okay. Cool. Then suddenly I want Monty Williams to stick around too. It's like the Jason Kidd thing. All over again, right? And you could very easily argue here that players are not always right about this shit. Their instinct, their intuition, their predilection for, picking out a coach. Sometimes this is why you have people in the front office. Because otherwise you're Milwaukee and you're fucking Giannis. And you're like, hey, I want Adrian Griffin. And John Horst is like, hey, we should actually do Nick Nurse. And Giannis is like, fuck you. So they got Adrian Griffin. That was dumb. So you don't take, Cade's word for gospel. But what do I know around here, folks? So that's it. That's the hypotheses. So Monty Williams is on his way out of here too. When that witch is dead, that'll feel good. Feel a lot better if Arn Tellem died. I mean, like if he was dead. Didn't have a controlling stake in the team anymore. I mean that so deeply too. Then the Pistons could... I don't want him to be actually dead. But like metaphorically. Like jobless. Can we cancel Arn Tellem? That new Eminem song, I loved everything about it. I loved everything about it. It was like, actually, it was very, very good. But the one thing I hated about the video was something about saying the word cancel that just, I say it ironically on this show sometimes, but when it sort of just triggers like a fight or flight, I'm like, I don't know, man. You talk about conversations I hate having. There's no such thing as being canceled. It's called like being held accountable. Yeah, sometimes. I mean, sometimes. But we just live in such a weird age digitally where it's like kids who are younger than me, like, 15 to like 19, all they've learned, sorry if you can hear the sirens in the background, all they've learned is that like social, like disruptive activity in a way that you don't agree with, it's like deplatform. Like that's their social justice. It, like, very literally social justice, digital justice is maybe a better way to phrase it, is just deplatforming. And that's I just wonder what that turns into. What does that snowball into? Because we've long since said on this damn show that if there's any generation that needs political action and a political revolution, it's probably my age and younger, like the college sophomores of the world. Desperately, they need it. But there's also not a generation who I think is less equipped for it because everybody's brains have been like completely rewired and murdered socially. A lot of that had to do with COVID because the kids that I'm referencing were in some super formative years socially during COVID when they couldn't do anything and they couldn't be with anybody. And these kids, like, brains are fucked. It's wild. And the different effects of it. I've got nieces. I've got little sister-in-law. I got a sister-in-law who's 10 years old. I got nieces who are, 8, 6, 9, 10. Like, I got a bunch of them, right? They lived through the same stuff, but it was even like weirder developmental periods. And so and it's not even just because they're, developing doesn't mean it didn't fuck with all of us, but do you know what I mean? And so, if you guys want to get real dumb and real disagreeable, there was a guy in Illinois, like 2 weeks ago. I was reading about it in like rural. I've always had a hard time with that word, rural Illinois. And a cop pulled him over, and he found like a backpack in his backseat. And the cop was like, "What's in there?" And the guy was like, "Fuck you, get a warrant." The cop was like, "Okay," and he took the backpack and sent the guy on his way, and then waited to get a warrant, and then he opened it up, and it was a bomb. It's a bomb. And like I think it was like a low pressure cooker bomb or something. And so they sort of like reverse engineer this guy, and they find out he's QAnon. He's QAnon as fuck, and he like hated gay people and like Mexicans. Like that was his whole deal. Okay, so it's just very like quintessential, alt-right dude living in Illinois. Okay. But and this is where we go off the road a little bit. Here's the only reason why I'm like, because at least QAnon people are fucking crazy enough to actually do it. Because at least QAnon people will actually disrupt the government that, for better or for worse, whether or not we agree with it, and we certainly do not agree with it on this show, at least they are willing to take the necessary actions to see I'm not cheering for fascism exactly, but I'm at least saying good for you guys for going for it, because the people who are on my side, on my team, they're not going to fucking do it. Nick, are you going to do it? Everybody wants to be part of the revolution until it's time to start the revolution. How about that? I could count on, out of all the people who I know in my life who like talk about that shit, who like think they're about that shit, I can count on probably no hands how many of them that I think would actually like do it. the most like intrusive thought that I have. This is your, I guess the Mavs Celtics preview is over, by the way. My most intrusive thought that I have, I would never wish an internal conflict on America. I would not. For the safety of my own family, honestly, and the ones that I love. That's why I just, now that we have a family, shit is like way realer, right? Which is good. Okay, so good. This experience is working on me. Good, the way that it's supposed to. Okay. But selfishly, I do sort of wish that there was, because then I could go document it. And I wouldn't have to get a passport and go to Eastern Europe. Or like you can't go to the Gaza Strip, and fucking, I'm not going there either. But if it was on our doorstep, right? And we're in Chicago. I've been really thinking, guys, because the DNC is going to be here. The protests for that are going to be off the chain. They're going to be off the hook. I was reading about they've been trying to get permits for months, and the city keeps shutting them down. But it's also kind of bullshit on the protesters' part, because they're like, we want to like block major streets and like the fucking freeway, and the city's like, no. During the DNC, are you out of your mind? And they're like, oh, you guys are fucking Nazis. You guys are oppressive. Like, no, it's actually really annoying when people do that. I don't know. There's just I guess an issue, it seems, with the way that people's messages are communicated in 2024, and and they're just not effective. It doesn't feel like there's been an effective method, because everybody is so overcorrective of what their opponents, like, for lack of better phrasing, that's not the word I want to use, views are, right? Talk about that a lot, how people overcorrect for shit. As soon as you're able to identify it, it's like, then you just notice it in everything, and you're like, fuck, and then everything is just bad. Okay, folks, that's going to do it for today's show. I'll catch you all on Friday. We'll have oh my God, I'm having like a really bad chest compression. Not a compression. It's like a sharp pain. I guess it like went up to my brain. My brain stem fucking snapped. What a weird episode this has been. It's still happening. I'm in real pain, and I just kind of don't know what to do right now. I'm actually like a little bit embarrassed because I'm in a lot of pain in my If you are listening to this on Spotify, be sure to rate 5 stars. If you are listening to this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like. Be sure to subscribe. Nice little comment for the algorithm. I will catch you guys
Hooters now have
in the next one.
Beautiful.
Primary control.
Beautiful.
Primary control.
Beautiful.
Primary control.